Last weekend was the French Grand Prix around Le Cassier in Formula 1. Today we're going to see what Reddit has thought about it. So let's go and see. Here is our first meme of the day. My guy is the definition of outperforming a car. Alonso, if signed by a top 2 team, can definitely be on the level of Max/Charles and fight for the World's Drivers' Championship. Well, I think he's good, but yeah, he has some spurts of luck and he has also things which don't go so well. And currently in the points list is actually behind Ocon, his teammate, and behind Bottas in Alfa Romeo. Which, take it if you want, but in my opinion, he won't maybe be on the level of those drivers, but he will be very close. And I don't think he does that, but I would rather him go to a different series so we get younger drivers in. Okay, next meme is probably how George was hired. Russell, I can nick as many right rear tires of Red Bulls you want me to. I turn into other drivers, ruin the races, and whine as if it's their fault. Toto, you're hired. Well, as you can probably see, I am a Mercedes supporter, and well, right rear tires of Red Bulls you want me to, well, that's sort of just because it did it once, but yeah, they're over exaggerating because they're memes. Turn into other drivers, the same thing, ruin their races, not the same thing, and whine as if it's their fault. I don't want to say that he didn't do these things, but some of these things, or actually all of those things that they have stated, are the drivers do. I just think that they're just trying to take something out from him because they maybe despise Mercedes a little bit because of the domination. I don't have any further comments except that I don't think that's wrong, but everybody has the right to believe what they want. At this point, just survive. Netflix, and Netflix says Formula 1, not Drive to Survive, just Formula 1 Survive season. And of course it's Ferrari because they built a very good car this year, and I would have said that they would have won the championship after like the first few races when Red Bull have had problems, but the Red Bull is just dominant. Where you have Verstappen in his hands, he is a good driver and he's just winning all the time. And then you have Ferrari with their engine issues, and Mercedes are currently there. But what I am interested to see is what will happen after the summer break when the flexi floors, which Red Bull are using, are sort of will vanish, and they are banning them because it's not allowed. And somebody I heard said that maybe because Christian Horner is quite known to just not whine but comment on certain things which he dislikes within Formula 1, and this flexible thing has taken up a lot, which could mean that he's really annoyed about this because they will lose a ton of performance. But we'll see what happens after the summer break, because if they are shocking after the summer break, we might see somebody else catching up. Who knows? Every night this week is going into Hungary. So Hamilton chilling with Roscoe and Coco, they all are just dreaming. Oh, what's this? Wait, if we have to, if you open image in new tab, so you have obviously Hamilton here, and then you have Alonso with all of his defending, and Hamilton being a bit shocked because if you don't remember last year, there was a start with intermediates in the wet, Bottas sort of out-braking himself, going right into the rear of Norris, and then bowling happening with Red Bull's damaged, Ferrari's damaged, and a ton of other cars damaged. But then after the red flag had gone, on the out formation lap it felt dry, so everybody pitted except Hamilton. So then it was just on the start himself, and he had to go one lap, and then he pitted, and then he had to come up from the back whilst Ocon was leading. So Alonso did a masterclass of defending for like 20 laps. I remember last year. I was very annoyed at him because he was really destroying Hamilton's race, but that just shows that he was really good at defending back then. And this picture is, if I remember correctly, I don't know from which race or from what year, but I believe he was driving in the Renault, so it could be like later 2000s, with him having a picture with 2 girls or 2 women. So yeah, this is quite an interesting picture, and hopefully we'll see him defending somebody, but hopefully I believe this will be another driver than Hamilton. Leclerc, no. Pentagon, hexagon, octagon, titles gone. Yes, as we have stated before, the Leclerc's title hopes this year at least don't look so good, but that's what we saw a bit with the things we're seeing from Ferrari right now when they're in the title is what happened last time, because they were fighting with Mercedes in, I remember especially 2018, when Vettel was right in the rear of Hamilton all the time, but then obviously the same things happened, except reliability, where the very bad strategy and a lot of this bad decisions and mistakes happened, and then they lost the title, and they also cheated. But that was more in 2019, but you never know, something might happen. They might actually get reliability and might win the title. We'll have to see. I'm going to lift and coast and he won't get by. Norris is getting closer. He's going to get DRS on us. I'm bringing him closer. You're gonna do what? I want them close behind me so they lose their tires. That's a smart move actually, because this was more of a problem in other years, especially like 2020 and from 2017 to 2020 or 2021. But when you got really close and got into dirty air, there were some problems with overheating of the tires and them losing a lot of grip. So but this problem is coming back. So what's happened is, in this meme is saying is Alonso is going to want him closer to destroy their tires, as we see here, which means also that he'll have better results because he won't have somebody behind him, which is good. If you stay ahead of P2, Carlos Sainz, I've almost had Perez, just need to stay focused. Box! Ferrari, box! And of course sides. And this was because they wanted to pit him whilst he was fighting Perez. Then he said no. Then they pitted him, or I think it was the pit before, I don't remember, where they did a pit infringement where they just let him get in front of Albon, I believe it was. And then they got a 5-second time penalty, but the Ferrari mechanics were like, oh, 5 seconds stop and go, 5 seconds stop and go. But Carlos Sainz had to point out it's just a 5 second, not the 5 seconds stop and go. Which just shows that Ferrari, in my opinion, need to not kick Matteo Binotto, but they need a new head in head. He can be like chief in design, I think, not chief in design, but mechanics control that section, whilst they can bring back like Maurizio Arrivabene from Juventus, the football team, and do other things, because I think if Ferrari want to go back to the glory days, they need to change the person who is leading. Yeah, all great talents in F1 are human too. They make mistakes every once in a while. So this is talking about when Leclerc crashed in Le Cassier in the race, where he went a bit on the left through the long left-hander at the middle or early third sector, went onto the sort of low friction area outside of the circuit, which means his tires spun up and he crashed into the wall. And then it's taking about, what's it called, great talents like Hamilton in Imola, believe it was 2 years ago, where he went in, shunted, red flag, things happened, but he still got the podium. Leclerc in Leclerc, as we saw. You have Verstappen going, pushing a bit too much and hitting the wall here, which they have actually moved 1 meter further away. Take it as you like. Then you have Vettel crashing in Hockenheim, him locking the brakes up and just going boom. And then you have Michael Massey. Wouldn't say he's an F1. He's an F1 great in making great mistakes and ruining certain things. Just saying, I dislike the man a lot. Leave me alone. If Lando and Kimi would have been teammates, yeah, you have little Lando just trying to be playing around, being not annoying. Well, Kimi would say annoying, but being a bit like haha funny. But then you have Kimi the Iceman, just straight face. But the only person who could like really get along with him, or yeah, was Vettel a lot. But then I think Giovinazzi also got along with him quite well. I think it's safe to say the guy has improved. First race in Australia 2007, yeah, he got the 3rd place in the McLaren in his first race, and then in his 300th race he got a P2, which just shows that Hamilton is still good, but he wins the race. And also, if Ferrari have a ton of problems, which they currently have, they will be overtaken by Mercedes, because Mercedes are only 44 points behind, which will be interesting to see, because they went from lows in Saudi Arabia, where Hamilton went down to Q1. I think somebody else went out in, I think Russell maybe went out to Q2 or Q1, I don't remember. But now going into, if they win a race, it would be super maculous. It would be very good. All aboard Alonso track. You have in Monaco, where he was pushing everybody behind. You have in Baku, where he was pushing everybody behind. And then you have Le Cassier, where he was pushing everybody behind, not letting everybody overtake. Now we're going to Hungary, which is often called the Monaco without the barriers, which means hard to overtake, but still, what's it called? Easy to. It's hard to overtake, and which means that Alonso might push everybody behind again. Ferrari Journey Visualized, it is called. And it's also Mario and Luigi. But if we comment here, it's like until there is, what's it called, up until Melbourne, right after Melbourne. And then you have going high in Miami, and then you have after Miami, which is interesting to see. Anyone else want old George? Watching George turn into a toxic Merc driver after supporting him at Williams. Well, I wouldn't say it's become toxic. He's just complaining because he thought something was wrong. I mean, Williams, they weren't super competitive, so he might not have done those things. And it's just, I wouldn't say, but something I've really noticed is that Perez, he was quite nice and calm whilst driving and wouldn't push so much, but then straight when he goes into Red Bull, they push and like super aggressive, which must be something they trained there in Red Bull, which in my opinion, yeah, he was great and complaining, but that's just what Formula 1 drivers do. But let's see what the comments mean. I don't know, when I see Will Smith, okay. Yeah, he was already like that before, maybe it's just more irritating now that he's at Mercedes. Now his radio is just in broadcast mode, that now he's in a Merc, he's actually racing people instead of going backwards from his quality. What I said, yeah, good point, Seminars just amplified. To whine, but George has got broadcasted as well for dram-inducing purposes and looking at many people get pressed about the physics. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. But now we're done with the Reddit it's time to give my comments on the race. Okay, so my comments on the race is that the race was quite entertaining. It wasn't, I would say it's the second best race in Le Cassé. The first was last year. And we had some interesting things happen, but the most dramatic thing, which I didn't see any memes about, was Antonio Giovinazzi got the haircut. But really what was more dramatic was actually, what's it called, the virtual safety car, where a lot of people were saying, oh, bad things about it. But what actually happened at the restart was the computer which was going to do the virtual safety car restart did the prompt, broke down, so they had to start up the new one. Then it gave a second one, but yeah, so which meant that Russell got a better start because he sort of noticed. So would say that he caught him sleeping, but a lot of people are just trying to complain on Mercedes and saying they were cheating and therefore they were doing something. But in my opinion, everybody's just complaining on Mercedes when they get a good result because of the domination and they don't want it back. And rightfully deserved so. You don't want the sport to be dominated by any team. It gets boring for the other people, but obviously it gets fun for the people who dominate. My next video will be on the same topic of Reddit race, but for the Hungarian Grand Prix, the last race before the summer break starts. And during that summer break, I will have some interesting videos coming at you. So if you don't want to miss that, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon, and also hit the like button if you're here still watching. But until my next video, I've been Racing Legend, you've been my amazing viewers. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.